All right, have and have not fans, happy Monday, or should I say happy June, because I think this is my first video for the month of June. And if you've been wondering where I've been for the past few days, busy. Had like 50 some items, had to get ready for shipping from eBay, cleaning. You reach adulthood when you get appliances and you're just happy. I found a Swiffer wet jet on sale at Dollar General. Does very great work. Weather's nice. Went out this morning, car wash, shipped off everything for eBay, got groceries, all that good stuff. And now I figured, you know what, since it's been a couple days, let me come back with a banger, a video that's kind of a discussion. It might be 30 minutes or so. We'll have to wait and see. But this is a topic that people have been bringing up to me for quite some time. And when I mean some time, I mean a long time. It has to do with Katheryn Cryer's cancer and whether or not it will resurface in the near future, or maybe it has resurfaced already and it just hasn't been made clear to us. And the reason I'm actually excited in a way to talk about this video is for me that a lot of the time, and I'm not stepping on anyone's toes because I'm guilty of this as well. Most of the time, we as a fan base, and that goes for any, fan base out there, whether it be for a musical artist, a celebrity, or, just a franchise as a whole, we just live in a day and age where everyone has a voice via Twitter, Facebook. You can just post your thoughts and just put it out there, usually without thinking first. We just live in that day and age where we are quick to critique instead of actually digging deeper. It's like we will judge things on the surface level, but when you take time, when you take time to kind of dig into something to see if it has any sort of hidden meaning or anything, that's when you actually appreciate something for what it is. Now, why am I doing like this long drawn out intro? It's to really set the stage for the discussion itself. And for quite a while, I've been saying how I don't like Katheryn's attitude on the show, where I say, like, look, I get it. She owes Jim. Well, I guess you could say Jim owes her so much for all the years of the affairs and the lies and the deceit, the outside children and this and that. And Katheryn had, as she said in a couple episodes ago, Jim, there are so many men that I haven't even slept with yet in order to even come close to equal to the number of women you slept with outside of our marriage. And I understand it, being the way she is. But the problem is, my biggest complaint is the fact that going to jail is a real reality at this point. Unless by the skin of their teeth, they come up with a plan at the last second. Or when I should say I say Jim. Because at this point, Veronica might just be trying to save herself, unless she's at a point where she realizes she has to save everyone. But she did tell David she has a plan to go against the grand jury, but then when he seemed interested in the information, that's when she's like, oh, well, you're interested in the information. Once again, being paranoid about only being nice to her in order to avoid going to jail and yada, yada, yada. Jim is the only one who is actively checking on the news and, looking to see what he can do, because George could arrest him at any moment. And I've just been saying it's ridiculous that, Katheryn's just getting drunk. She's trying to get sex and yada, 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 when she should be trying to work together with everyone in order to avoid jail. But she's been so carefree. And I've been, well, I don't want to say complaining, but I haven't been a fan of her personality for a while. I think it was like, at the beginning of 2018 or season 5, if you want to say season 5. Basically, season 4 ended where she was like, Jim, I'm getting a divorce. And that's when she had the house cleaned out while Jim was in his office. And then the next episode, that's when we first meet Broderick at the hotel. And then Katheryn, is going through the divorce in regards to Jim having no money. And then, halfway through the season, she gives him $10 million and then decides, fine, Jim, fine. So basically, it went from I can do everything I need to do myself to, Jim saying that you need me. And they actually do need each other. I honestly think that they do need each other. Just like the whole thing where I always say that Jim and Katheryn love each other just like David and Veronica love each other. Like, the love is there. But, of course, there's a lot of tension and bad blood between the couples, if you will. That I feel like I don't feel like anyone can say there isn't any love there. It's just there's a lot of backstabbing involved with that. But when it comes down to it, Katheryn's personality has been so all over the place. It's like one minute you're a cold-blooded murderer, then you're torturing Veronica. Next thing you know, you're just, oh, I'm just hooking up Hannah with Derek, and then, I'm going about my business. Oh, I want to turn my son in for leaving this guy to die on the floor, referring to Vinnie Malone. Yet I don't want to go to jail because I killed Jennifer Salson in cold blood. It's just inconsistent and it makes no sense. That's been my biggest complaint. But what I did was, once again, I looked into some knowledge from my friends in the medical field about, breast cancer in regards to just cancer in general, if you want to be more specific about it. But, breast cancer, because Katheryn suffered from this. And if you don't remember, you had to go all the way back to season 1. And once again, I say that if you either haven't watched season 1 before because you got into the haves and the have-nots in a later season, or if you haven't watched season 1 in a while because, it's like, well, it's season 6 now. I don't feel like going back. In my opinion, season 1 and 2 were the best, but technically on Hulu and Wikipedia is listed as season 1. I feel like season 1 was the strongest season. So you should be able to go to Hulu, and the episodes for the first 5 seasons are there. So I'd recommend going back. And, Katheryn Cryer was in the hospital, I'd say about midway through season 1. This is after when Hannah found out, and Katheryn, that's when they first became close. One of the most memorable moments between those two is when Hannah gave her a joint. And basically, she was in the hospital for the surgery. She got the surgery, got out of the hospital, and we hadn't heard of anything about the cancer since then until last season when Wyatt revealed that he knew his mother had the cancer because he found her medication. And then later on, or should I say an episode or 2 later, she tells Jim about the cancer. And, that's when he lashed out because he was just mad at Hannah once again. But on top of that, it's just a sheer shock factor that his wife was dying in front of his eyes, but yet he didn't seem to care or even notice at that point. Now, when it comes to the, I guess you could say, odds of Katheryn actually, what's the right word I'm looking for here? To see a reemergence or a reoccurrence of the breast cancer. So once again, I tapped into the knowledge of some of my medical friends, and then I did look on a website, webmd.com. It had a lot of helpful information on this. And let me just put it out there, guys. I know this is a drama series. I know this is just a television show. So even though it is live action, there are things that happen in the show that obviously don't make sense from a real world standpoint based off how certain things go. And that's one of my favorite things about the episodes, when people on the channel who work in a specific field, like let's say if something happens at a police station and if Loving You is wrong on the haves and the have-nots, and then there's someone who actually works in the law enforcement, they comment how this makes no sense because this is not how we handle things. Or more specific, or I guess you could say one of the most common real world inconsistencies within the television series is things that happen from the medical fields, like the hospitals and the paramedics. I just love when that kind of stuff is just so wrong that even I, who has no experience in that field, can just say, I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen in real life. And I'm bringing this up because if you go way back to season 1 after Katheryn came out of surgery, heaven forbid that I ever had to experience, cancer treatments or anything in the future. But after getting out of surgery, I believe Hannah found out that Amanda was in the hospital because she had tried to take her own life. I believe this is after she was raped by Professor Cannon, then tried to overdose on not drugs, but overdose on pills, leading to her being in the hospital. Katheryn found out from Hannah, and remember, this was in the same hospital. I believe it was Mercy Hospital. I know somebody will correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but basically Katheryn wanted to see about her daughter, and strangely enough, Hannah stepped outside of the room, I believe to get the doctor for something. I forgot exactly what it was, but Hannah comes back within a few minutes, and then Katheryn is out of her bed, fully dressed but barely able to stand up, let alone walk, out of the hospital. And Hannah was like, well, let me go get you a wheelchair. It's like, no. And she's like, well, it is hospital protocol that all patients, exiting the hospital must have a wheelchair, until they get to their car, whatever the case may be. Katheryn refused, so she's barely able to hobble down the hallway. Hannah's, escorting her out, and that's when they run into Wyatt, Amanda, and Jim, because Amanda was admitted out of the hospital. And it's just like, this makes no damn sense. So basically, for the remainder of the season, when I say season 1, I'm talking about the first 20 plus episodes. For the remainder of the season, Katheryn is pretty much bedridden. She's like at the house, just, in her bed or sitting in a chair, because she obviously is in a lot of pain and is still in recovery. Now, I think one of the most interesting pieces of evidence from a real world cancer standpoint as to how it could be affecting the story is, after all the research I've done, and then, the basic questions I ask my friends, if somebody has cancer if somebody has surgery to get rid of a cancer, would it be breast cancer or, any part of the body, what are the chances, or, could the cancer come back at some point? And the answer is yes. And after looking up things on WebMD and then triple checking, because I had 2 friends I asked about this, it seems that there could be reoccurrence, and I guess you could say the most common forms of reoccurrence, especially after a cancer surgery treatment, is within the first 5 years. So in order to, I don't know if I should say prevent, but to check to see if the cancer is coming back, one of the most common things and one of recommended things for patients is to actually have like monthly checkups or follow-ups with the doctor for, like mammograms, just body scans and whatnot, just to make sure everything is a-okay. I mean, they say that most of the cancer could reoccur in terms of the same spot you had the cancer in to begin with, whether it be like the scar from the surgery or just another part of the body. And of course, guys, if there's anyone out here who has more information, or sadly, if you have experience, because you fought off cancer, or if you had family members who had cancer at some point, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I kind of like grazed the surface of this topic, but I did do some research just to make sure my facts are straight, because once again, this is real world medical information compared with a TV show that can just do whatever the hell they want with it. But it does make sense if the cancer did come back, or will come back, because I don't want to wish this on Katheryn. I mean, a lot of people have been saying time and time again, go back to season 1, Jeremy. You said yourself, when you bring up the cancer surgery and whatnot, a lot of things some people forget, because season 1 was such a long time ago. Katheryn had Hannah make a video will detailing that Jim gets nothing, and Wyatt and Amanda will get their inheritances, but if they contest or pretty much fight anything against the will, basically that money goes straight to charity. I think those are some of the details. And, also to donate a lot of her estate and property and whatnot, and give that money to like the Georgia Cancer Foundation or something like that. But you could argue that will was kind of null and void, because later on in the series, she updated her will, and I think that's where she left Hannah $5 million. And a lot of fans have been stating, yeah, watch, Katheryn's going to die at some point, and then that money is going to go to Hannah. I can see that happening. I don't want it to happen, but this was at a time where Katheryn was like in my top 2 favorite characters, but then she kind of plummeted due to her personality inconsistencies. Now, you could say that, and this is what I thought too while doing the notes for this video, you know what, it actually makes sense why Katheryn's been acting the way she is lately, because she doesn't give a damn about, the millions of dollars. She doesn't give a damn about going to jail. She wants to have threesomes and whatnot, just to live out all these fantasies and get back at Jim. So yeah, maybe the cancer resurfaced, and this time around she's not going to fight it. She's just going to go out in terms of on her own terms, because, well, her life is falling apart. Her kids, well, her living child doesn't give a damn about her, so there's no need of trying to fight it anymore. I'm just going to do what I want and go out on my own terms. That could be her way of thinking right now. But I feel like, it just doesn't make sense. And once again, real world mechanics here, because the timeline of the haves and the have-nots is just so ridiculous in terms of how much time has actually passed on the show. But Yeah, you would think she would have at least one checkup because hell, even when she was going through the treatments and the surgery, Hannah was saying how, hey, after my surgery, that's why I started, wearing wigs because I was losing my hair and whatnot. Or excuse me, during my cancer period of my life, I was losing hair, so I started, getting wigs. That's something that's never been revisited with Katheryn. Basically, after she left the hospital and after she was laying around season one, the cancer was just erased, if you will. Like it was just taken out of the story until Wyatt brought it back up. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up in terms of parallels, because I'm actually excuse me, comparing this to something else in the story. One thing about the haves and the have-nots is that generally speaking, some of the things that happens to the haves will happen to a particular have-not, and this is a recurring theme throughout the series. Comparing Katheryn's possible resurgence of cancer, I always think about the fact that she's never gone to the hospital for a follow-up. There hasn't been any aftermath from her, after having cancer. And I think about Benny, after he got off life support, and this was during season 2, or now known as season 1, after the hit and run with Wyatt in the black sedan, he was in the hospital, and the doctor told Hannah, Benny's getting healthier, so at this point, we could take him off life support, but there could be side effects. Hannah did not let the doctor tell her what the side effects were. She was pretty much excited just to get him off life support to begin with. So he got off life support, never learned of the side effects, and then his irrational behavior just started there, acting like a child at times, his speech patterns and whatnot. Yet we had no follow-up on that. I mean, I know Katheryn footed the bill, but at that point, it's like Benny would go in for like maybe a checkup at some point. The last time we saw him in the hospital, to my knowledge, is when he got stabbed by the surgeon, and that had nothing to do with his, brain patterns and whatnot after the hit and run. And it's kind of like, well, at that point, you would think that Benny would just get some information from the doctor about, hey, well, we noticed you were at this hospital recently for the hit and run. How have you been doing since coming off life support? No, he got stabbed, he got stitched up, and then freaking walked out of the hospital. I'm like, what the hell? He didn't even stay the night. So I'm just feeling like when it comes down to it, these hospital treatments can't go without follow-up. And, Benny going, I think, what was it? Mitch did take him back to the hospital because they had to redo his stitchers or whatever. And they still did not answer the question of who the hell paid for the hospital bill. Because Hannah and Benny ain't got insurance, at least to my knowledge. I don't think they do. I know she didn't have insurance on the house because when Quincy, destroyed it with his car, Katheryn came over with, because the house was destroyed, and Hannah literally said she didn't have insurance on it. Yeah, she didn't have insurance on it. So I don't think they have medical insurance either. And you probably wonder, well, Jeremy, this was at a time where they had this was at a time where the millions of dollars was in the bank account. True, but remember, Hannah wouldn't let him touch the money. So did Mitch foot the bill? Remember, Benny told Candace that they only had like $50 to $80 some in their joint bank account. So I don't know who the hell paid for it. But all I'm saying is there are plenty of examples within the series of characters, going through some kind of physical, injuries or diseases, going to the hospital, then coming out within a couple episodes like nothing ever happened without any follow-up. I just don't buy it. I feel like the cancer might come back in the near future, but I feel like, if Katheryn's cancer were to return, I would like it to happen after she's kind of gotten all of her ducks in order. Like at this point, she just doesn't give a damn. And I mean, if the cancer was back, then I can understand her not caring whatsoever. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like this video is a way for me to kind of justify Katheryn's behavior. But at the same time, I don't like how she's being written to be so naive. Like, when it comes to the Malones have a hit on their son, what kind of hit? And it's like, wait, what? Or when it comes to like drug dealers, do you think they're going to hurt them? Wait, what? Look, Katheryn, I get that you've been sheltered and whatnot, being a have and an heiress, but at the same time, you would think some of those street smarts or just general terms would make sense to you. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. But with that being said, I don't know if the video is going to be wrapping up at this very moment, but just covering the basics, I just wanted to ask the question, do you think that Katheryn's breast cancer will return at some point in the near future? Could this be an explanation as to why she's just being rash, or do you just think that at this point she just doesn't give a damn about anything? But I really want to see if she does get locked up, will her attitude change? You know, once she's sober, once she realizes she's behind bars, once she realizes that, you know, she doesn't get any respect within the, you know, the jail, because that was one thing you noticed back when Jennifer had the halves arrested, you know, when Veronica and Katheryn and then Jim and Dave were being in the jail, there was no respect given. Sorry, there's a garbage truck in the parking lot right now. And a moving van. Yeah, it is June, so a lot of people, you know, their leases are up, or, you know, they graduated college or they're moving out of here. But yeah, so either way, it's just like, you know, once she's sobered up, I wonder if she's actually going to try to fight it. I feel like, you know, when it comes down to it, Katheryn Cryer is a badass, without a doubt. Like I said, she's not my top 3 favorite characters anymore, but you cannot deny that she is definitely hardcore. But I just wish they were a bit more consistent with her character personality. That's the real thing I want from her above all else, because she's an awesome character. And to be honest, I think Renee Lawless is having the time of her life, because look at it, you just having a good time. You know, it's like if there was anybody on the show having fun, it would be RK and Katheryn easily. And, you know, one other thing I wanted to point out, and I feel like this is just one of those things where, because the actor or actress in real life is losing weight, then that's reflected on the show. And Katheryn Cryer, you know, her weight has I don't think she was that, you know, I don't want to say big, because I never thought of Katheryn as like huge, because I know she made a note of that. It's like, I'm old, I'm fat, my looks are gone. She kind of like told that to Hannah when she was reflecting on wasting her best years on Jim. She's definitely like slimmed down if you look at the past couple seasons compared to like late season 2, early season 3. And I do think that, you know, weight loss is one of the, you know, effects of cancer. You know, like you lose your hair, you lose, you know, muscle mass and weight and whatnot. So that could be an easy excuse to write into the story to explain why she slimmed down in regards to her cancer coming back. And because some of the side effects have been coming back and her not really caring about it, that explains, like, she hasn't gone to the hospital for a checkup. So if the cancer comes back, it's like, oh my God, what happened? It's like, oh, the signs were there, I just didn't know. Or the signs were there and I just didn't care. I'm going out on my own terms. I'm going to sex it up with, I don't even know if that's a right term, but I want to have sex with as many men as I want. And I'm going to give away my money to my trusted friend Hannah and this and that. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting theory to think about. But what do you think? In the comment section below, let me know. Do you think that Katheryn's cancer will make a return at some point in the near future, kind of giving way to her will being revealed, and because of that, Hannah will be left with millions of dollars? But to be honest, if Hannah is allowed to keep Wyatt's inheritance, would she still get the extra $5 million from the will, making it like 13 million or so? I don't know. I really don't know the stipulation on that. And I'm only speaking from the terms of if she and Benny keep those millions of dollars, would she still be qualified to get the 5 million from the will? I would think so, because that Wyatt inheritance thing was something that was not related to the will at all. And another thing to think about is, let's say if the cancer were to resurface, would Jim do things differently this time? Would he actually care? And once again, folks, I know it sounds crazy, but there is love there between the two, despite him being a son of a bitch and, you know, her just being, well, Katheryn. The love is there. It is still there, because you can just tell by the tone of voice and the body language from when Jim found out from Katheryn directly that she had cancer. He didn't know about it. Hannah was there for her when no one else was. There was guilt there. I know. It's like, Jeremy, look, this is Jim Cryer we're talking about, but at the same time, that's his wife. And I know it's like, well, Jeremy, that's his wife, but he still cheated on her and whatnot. I know. But yeah, I wonder if he would do things. It's almost like, you know, if Candace got married to Charles, or, you know, just her and Charles got together, you know, how would she interact with Charles's kids? You know, will it be like, I guess you could say the things she didn't do for Quincy Jr., she would do for those kids. But I think what would be even better is that she gets pregnant and has a child by Charles and then has a second chance of motherhood. I'm pretty sure she would do things a lot differently from when she had Quincy Jr. Same thing applies if Katheryn's cancer were to come back. Jim might actually be there for Katheryn. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but something tells me that he might do things a little bit differently. That's just my opinion. Now, I mean, of course, we don't know for sure, but like I said, it's just my opinion. Just saying. But overall, looking at the notes here, I really do wish they would do some follow-up with the cancer, whether it be just her going to the hospital for a checkup, just because, I get it. Once again, guys, it's just a TV show, but they do cover a lot of real-world issues and, the importance of checking up on yourself, whether you have cancer or not, just getting physicals. And matter of fact, I'm trying to schedule one for myself within the next couple of weeks here. Just to make sure I'm in good shape and whatnot. Well, I mean, obviously, I know I need to lose some weight, but you know what I mean? Just make sure my body's okay. And I do feel like this could be an interesting storyline for Katheryn as opposed to her just being, well, a cougar, I guess is the word, trying to have sex with any man she comes across. It would give her character more depth. Once again, I'm betting Renee Lawless is having the time of her life, and I can't blame her. It looks like Tyler Perry has written Katheryn to be a lot more carefree and whatnot, but at the same time, it's almost like, and I know this might sound like a weird comparison. I guess you could say people just identify them as the black Aunt Vivian, the first Aunt Vivian, and then the second being the light-skinned Aunt Vivian on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The first hardcore Aunt Vivian was not one to play any games. She was cutthroat. She had a career. She took care of her family, but she wasn't against, putting them in their place when they needed to be, and by that it actually helped ground them. But then the second Aunt Viv was more, soft spoken and whatnot. At that point, I don't even think she, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Aunt Viv's profession a professor? I believe so, because Philip was a judge. Yeah, that's right. Uncle Phil was a judge. And then after that, I think she had little Nikki, and then that was it. She was just a housewife from that point on. So the same thing with Katheryn kind of applies, where the first few seasons she was like, Katheryn was just kind of being introduced. At that point, it was really establishing the dynamic between her and Hannah. Then she really became truly cutthroat, and then she just kind of mellowed out. And it's kind of like, I feel like there really wasn't any in between, like any kind of development as to why she became more carefree. That's just my opinion with that. But all that's to say, looking over my notes, I think I covered everything there is to cover. But as always, there's more to add to the formula here. So in the comments below, what do you think about the cancer? And also, I might do a video on this before tomorrow night's episode. But I think we need to explore the subject of if Katheryn and Jim separated. And I mean, like, let's say if they were just to both leave each other right now. They divorced. Jim left. Would he really be broke? I don't think so. I mean, based off dialogue from the series, it seems like he would. But in reality, Katheryn put $10 million back in his bank account last season. This was when Katheryn walked in the room and saw Gia and Jim together. And then Gia ran off. And then, that's when Jim was like, hey, you know what? You're nothing without me. Call Lloyd, reactivate my accounts, put $10 million back in there because Katheryn Cryer, you are an heiress, but at the same time, I earned money during our marriage as well. I had several businesses. I was a judge. He has money, but not as much as Katheryn. So Katheryn put the $10 million back in there. So maybe if they went through divorce court and whatnot, and then Katheryn brought up all the things that Jim has done, as well as the millions of dollars he's had extorted, then technically I could see him being broke. And I'm going to save all that for its own video, but let me know in the comments, do you want me to do a video on that? And before ending this video, just a couple of announcements. I need to give a couple of shout outs here because these need to be done. I meant to do these in my last video, and then I have a couple announcements. So this is at the point of the video where you can tune out, but I would definitely suggest keeping an ear so you can hear the announcements. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, guys. We hit 80,000 subscribers and over 15 million views last week, so we ended May with a bang. And 2019 is moving along here, so 100,000 will be here before you know it, and I can't thank you enough for that. But a special shout out to another YouTuber. If you are a fan of Prince and his music and his legacy, you need to check out the channel Prince's Friend. This guy does an amazing job breaking down Prince's albums, his life, his bandmates. He does interviews. He went to Paisley Park, I believe, this year and the previous year for Paisley Park's annual Prince celebration. I forgot the name of it. This celebration, I think it's called Celebration at Paisley Park. But his channel is very, very in-depth. As a fan of Michael Jackson and Prince, I think that this channel has actually made me appreciate Prince even more, because I'm not going to lie, I'm one of those people that, Purple Rain, Raspberry Beret, Little Red Corvette, and Sign of the Times, but I really don't look into the filler. I don't want to call them filler tracks, but the tracks that aren't always released as singles. But just he goes, every time he does an album review, he does an album review, like the reasoning behind each song, why it was written, the hidden meaning behind it, all that stuff. So Prince's Friend, be sure to check out his channel, subscribe. It is a great channel there. I definitely recommend it. And for my second shout out here, this was one of my prize winners from the last contest. Obey Katrina. I actually went to the post office this morning. I had 55 things I need to mail off. One of those items was your Tyler Perry DVD. I forgot which one it was. It's either Madea Gets a Job or Witness Protection. It's one of those two DVDs. But the other winner of the DVD, actually I'm pulling up her information right now because she didn't want the DVD. She only wanted a shout out. I want to put your information on the screen, so if I mispronounce your name, Sid's Aki. Yeah. She is a author and filmmaker of Own Your Stupidity, and she wanted a shout out. So yeah, give her a shout out there. Be sure to check out her website. And aside from that, there are 3 other winners who I'll put on the screen right now. Please contact me on Instagram, DM, or email me immediately within the next 24 hours or so. These 3 people have won gift cards. One of them has won $25, and the other 2 have won $10 gift cards to Walmart. So that's your pretty much your warning right there. Hit me up before Wednesday so I can mail off your cards. If not, I'll just save the gift cards for another contest. No big deal. And looking over the notes here, I believe that is it. As always, links to my social media are in the description below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check out my eBay store. I'm pretty much at this point putting stuff on there each week, and this is a good way to make fast money. YouTube is awesome, but it only pays once a month, so I'm trying to get money to put in savings and whatnot, and these student loans don't pay themselves. But aside from that, I think this was a very interesting topic to dissect in regards to Katheryn's cancer. And yes, I've done videos before, thanks to my mom, in regards to Katheryn possibly dreaming everything that's been happening in the have and the have-nots. Jeremy, what do you mean? Like Dallas, who, dream sequence. Wasn't it like an entire season where the guy was dreaming or something? But in any case, the theory is when Katheryn went into surgery, maybe she just dreamed everything, because one thing to remember is there was a point in the hospital where she just started coughing uncontrollably, and Hannah rushed to get the nurse, and we kind of just switched scenes. And the theory is after that moment, we're just in Katheryn's mind. She's dreaming everything. And then at the end of the series, she'll wake up, and then that'll be it. And maybe that'll happen once everyone is dead or something. Or what if she dies and then she wakes up and is like, oh my God, I died. And it's like, oh wow, I just saw everything happen that could happen, so I'm going to change my life. So when she wakes up, Amanda's still alive, and Wyatt and Jeffrey are still there. This would be Wyatt still going through the rehab program, and then Jeffrey's looking after him and things like that. So that would be an interesting twist. But that was one of my biggest blogs Renee Lawless actually loved that blog. I mean, during my blog days, there were times where the cast would retweet them. I wish they would do the same with my videos, but who's to tell? But with that being said, guys, thanks so much for hanging in there with me during this long video. But it is good to get behind the mic again and get things recorded. But just understand that sometimes even I need to step away and take a break. Like, not every day. I know it seems like it was a trend where I would upload 5+ videos a day. It's like the channel, maybe it's YouTube's algorithm, whatever it is, I'm thankful. I can upload one video at a time and then they'll get like 20,000 plus hits because notifications must be going out. So let me know your thoughts on this cancer theory. What other video topics would you like me to discuss? Like I said, I might do a next video on would Jim be broke if he and Katheryn got divorced. As always, subscribe to the channel. 100,000, like I said before, is becoming more of a reality every day. Hopefully by the end of June, we'll be around 85,000. We'll wait and see. But remember, season 9 should start filming either later this week or sometime next week. So I'll be on the lookout for that. And as always, if you see any behind the scenes footage, while they're filming, feel free to send it my way. And if it's, good enough information, I'll be sure to do a video on it. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, or if you have anything you would like to add to the video, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to keep up with me on social media, go to the description box. All of my links for social media are right there. Also, if you feel like you would like to donate to the channel, make sure to click on the link to PayPal. Any amount helps. $1, $5, $20. As a full-time YouTuber, any support from my fans really does mean a lot to me. Finally, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification icon. That way you're kept up to date on any new content I post to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next video.